deal anyway. I'm a mechanical engineer. Have been for the last 14 years now. I've been making stuff ranging from food equipment to large hydroelectric generators to self-driving cars. As long as I've been designing things, I haven't had as much experience making things as I would enjoy. And I find that when you know how to make something, it really affects your design decisions. And the people that end up making it for you don't think you're an idiot. So, I have hobbies, mostly making things, so that I get practice at being empathetic of my coworkers who have to put together the designs that I come up with. I think it's made me a better engineer, but more importantly, I just really enjoy working with my hands. Forge tripod for the win. I started this whole process a little late in the game. Started working on this thing before I started filming. I'll be honest, the coronavirus, it really gave me enough time and motivation to kind of get back into some other hobbies I had. One of them being video editing. I'm enjoying the process of working in Premiere Pro and After Effects. So stay tuned. There's going to be a cool animated intro soon. Maybe some lightsabers. I don't know. We'll see. Working on the forge. That was kind of caught me in the middle of that project. My apologies. So what got the forge started in the first place? Well, I've watched a lot of blacksmithing videos. I've taken a couple of blacksmithing classes. I enjoy it. It's fun. Definitely something that I've been interested in. So the thing that started it all was this. I decided one day I wanted to make a knife. So I bought a knife blank from Amazon. It's basically just a piece about that long, and I went over to Harbor Freight, got one of these super cheap sanders, and literally just started grinding the edge away. So I did a pretty good job getting a nice bevel on there, but then I decided, okay, now I need to heat treat it. That's where I ran into problems. So my first instinct was to buy one of these $3 propane tanks and literally just try and heat the knife up like that. And I held it on there for like 15 minutes and didn't even change color. So all I was doing was making a hot piece of metal. So that got me thinking. I saw on YouTube some people making a little forge just using fire brick and those propane tanks. I was like, that's probably the next best option, and I could spend $40 on some fire brick and, you know, justify that cost. I present to you Forge version 1. As you can see, I took some fire brick, I drilled it out. It actually looks pretty nice. I clamped it together and used a hole cutting saw, and then I put some holes in the side here for us to shoot propane torches into it, right in the middle there. So the idea is you put the knife right down there and it gets heated up from both sides. In theory that's great, but I don't know if you caught, one of the choices I made was to have the holes exactly apart from each other. So literally the flame from the one was shooting out the other hole, while the flame from this one is shooting. It just wasn't great. I did manage to heat the knife up though, and it worked okay. So the heart and soul of a forge is the burner. And I'll be honest, that's kind of one of the more intimidating parts of building a forge, for me anyways. I've seen lots of YouTube videos on how to do it, but had never really trusted my abilities with plumbing, propane fittings and all that. I know I'm overthinking it a little bit, but anyways, I saw this on eBay. Nice thing is, it's totally self-contained. Got this 20 psi regulator, This fitting it screws right into barbecue propane tank, and then on this end they've made a propane burner. So you've got your nozzle in here. This slides up and down, lets you adjust your airflow, and then the propane, fire comes out that. So anyways, I bought this. That's kind of what got the second version started. After taking it out back and playing around with the mini flamethrower, I decided, you know what? Let's go down to Home Depot. I saw they had some of these tanks empty. It's important because you don't really want to cut a tank that has propane in it. It's a combustible gas, and you might have noticed in some of my videos that when you're cutting, it produces some sparks. So anyways, that's what got this started. And basically all you missed was me installing the Kaowool, and I cut this apart. I shoved the Kaowool in there. It comes in a 1-inch ceramic mat, and I just cut it with an X-Acto knife. So I put two layers in there. So there's 2 inches of insulation all around this on the inside here. The Kaowool is rated to like 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Forges can get hotter than that. With the direct flame, it can get over 3,000. One of the concerns with the Kaowool is that if it gets hit with the direct flame, the little ceramic particles will break away from the wool and become airborne, causing, breathing issues. So the fix of that is to coat it with something. But a lot of people use refractory cement. It's not great because it kind of acts like a heat sink. Instead of warming up the air in the middle, it actually just absorbs into the concrete. So that's no good. So I was looking, doing research. I found this stuff. It's called ITC 100 HT. Comes in a tiny little can like this, and you mix it. It's 1 part water with 2 parts of this. So basically you dump this out, and then you fill the container halfway with water. You pour that in and you mix it. It makes like a consistency of a milkshake. Yeah, and basically you just take a paintbrush and you paint the inside of it, and after you let it cure for 6 hours at like 400 or 500 degrees, it becomes much more hard and durable, so that when you're doing the thermal cycles of firing the forge up, it won't have any of that expansion or contraction that would cause it to crack like it did when I didn't let it cure. Anyways, this stuff is super dope. Highly recommend it. And one of the best things about it is it doesn't absorb the heat, it reflects the heat. So this stuff is rated to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hotter than I plan on firing this thing up to. And so essentially what they claim is, the amount of heat that reaches the metal is going to be very low compared to if I didn't have this stuff on. And I believe them. I've done some tests, and it's pretty cool. And just for a frame of reference, half of that was enough to do the entire forge. So I've still got a half of a container, which is good because it costs like $70 to repair my, mistakes. So, before I got started on all of that, I decided I needed to build a workbench. Also watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how to cheaply build a workbench, and decided that a 2x4 top would be perfect for me because it's going to put a lot of weight up there. Gives me a nice stable surface. I can beat it up. I can sand it down if I am welding on it and, it starts burning down into the wood. That's easy to patch and sand, and I'm not too worried about it. Anyways, I designed this table myself. The legs and everything are custom. The whole point of this was to build a workbench that would be robust, give me space for storage, and be low cost. So, of course, I ended up spending like $500 building this thing, just in buying, the metal at Home Depot in like 3-foot sections and 6-foot sections, and the tools and stuff I needed to make it. So maybe it wasn't worth it, but I've got a great workbench now, and it was a fun experience to build it, so I'm not too mad about it. That's about all I got for today.